Well, never say die, as the saying goes. I had conceived the idea of attempting to install OS 10.0 on the Sawtooth. I tried to do that last night using the FireWire installers, and it just hung. I don't really know why it just hung, but it just hung. It was on the checking of the disk, which of course has been a problem in the past. So I decided, well, I'll just try it using the disk. Maybe that it can check the disk better than having it on the drive. Well, turns out the optical drive in the Sawtooth seems to have stopped working. At least it will not open. So I have now got the PowerBook G4 in target disk mode connected to the Sawtooth, and I have just inserted the OS 10.0 Cheetah install media. Now, you can see up there the Macintosh hard drive. That's actually the mounted drive from the PowerBook. So this should be working. I sincerely hope, anyway. And, yes, the drive has now mounted. Let's go down here to System Preferences. There'll be a ton of options here. .0.3 on Mac OS X install CD. Let's give it a go. As I said, when I tried it using the FireWire drive version of the installer, which was just imaged from this disk, it mounted all right, but it hung up. Now the optical drive is spinning up over on the PowerBook, so we're heading in the right direction, I think. But optical drives are slow. Drive is still spinning away. Well, this is an OS from 2001. Okay, the drive has still making noises. It's spinning as fast as it was. It's reading stuff in there. Oh, that's still working. Well, I will stop the video and restart it if something happens. It was really only probably less than 2 minutes after I stopped the first clip that we popped up onto this screen. I got this far last night, and I will say with the FireWire, it went a lot faster. So at the rate we're progressing, this is going to take a very, very long time. But we can see this looks relatively primitive. We've got the blue Aqua Apple logo there. And we're going to choose Use English for the main language, of course. Click Continue. All right, no, I'm not actually reading the license agreement, but you know, we're dealing with the README, then the license, then select destination. We hung up when it started checking the disk last night. So we'll click Continue. Now we're in the license and Continue. And agree. And this is, well, okay. Hey. How about that? All right, now, lots of, this machine is going to be a workshop for different operating systems. It actually, if it works out, we'll have everything installed on it from OS 9.2.2 up through 10.5.8, which is the maximum this can run. All right, so we're going to select the Cheetah SSD. We don't need to erase and format because that's already been done. Customize. We can't choose our print drivers. Yeah, what the heck? Let's just install everything. Well, this is a first. I have never in my life installed 10.0. I did, back in a previous life it seemed, install 10.1. Actually, I did that onto a FireWire hard disk where I installed several operating systems just for the heck of it. All right. Now, I have no idea how long this is going to take. I know an OS 9 installation was not that long. Now, this is just doing preparation. Now it's actually installing. This is exciting. Yeah, I guess that fireware installer is just not going to work because I can only guess that directions were being sent to check media in an empty optical drive. Okay, now we're writing files. And installing the base system. I think I'm just going to let this run. I've got the phone connected to a charger, so we should be okay. I can then edit it as necessary, speed up some things. But yeah, let's enjoy this entire experience together. Well, I stayed quiet there for quite a while, thinking that that would make it easier to speed up the footage. But this is moving along pretty quickly here, so I think I'm going to just let it go. And anybody who gets bored in the midst can always just skip ahead in the video. Kind of like this about the old installers. Those Tiger was like this too. It gives you an indication of what the installer is doing. Newer installers, you have no idea, and that's true even with Leopard. It just says installing, doesn't give you any indication of what. And the truly new versions of Mac OS, the machine basically restarts and all you see is an Apple logo and a progress meter. This version has got a couple of distinctions. First of all, it obviously was the first actual release. There was an OS X server, which really looked a whole lot more like OS 9. And of course there were beta editions that came out as a public beta. This was the first actual release. It's also the shortest lived. It was superseded by 10.1 something like 6 months after it was introduced. Probably because it was essentially useless. It was pretty, but that was about it. Yeah, I thought about not installing the additional print drivers because I can't imagine there's going to be anything to print here. But it was such a small amount of space, it just didn't seem worth it. Okay. This is really cool. From early 2001. All right, let's just get that restart to go. Now watch, it'll kernel panic. Oh my gosh. Huh. I wonder if maybe that firmware upgrade that allowed Leopard to install is why I can't install OS 8. Maybe. Okay. Ooh. Welcome video. Different music. All right. Oh, I sure hope Command Quit works. It sure does. Create your account. Can you imagine? I don't know, it probably would be a dead end, not go anywhere, but that Apple actually were to get here in 2020 a registration for Cheetah? And here we are. The Cheetah desktop. Wow. Now, obviously things are kind of stretched. Let's see in system preferences if we can do anything about that. Yeah, we can go to that's weird. Okay, I can fix this to an extent. Okay. Now, why that moved all of those icons, I really don't know. Okay, we'll go back to show all. What other goodies are in here? Okay, Classic is there. And Classic had to be there. Without Classic, this was useless. Tell you what, I'm just gonna, let's just restart this thing and see if this fixes itself. I think that's normal. I think 10.0 still had Happy Mac. Ah, the CD's spinning up again. And the optical drive in the PowerBook. Okay, I'm gonna shut this down because I don't know how long this is gonna take. So we'll be back. And here we are. Do this initializing network every time it starts up? Yep. And here we are, all better. Okay, so this is what it should look like now. We have all of this craziness. This will get cut down somewhat. The install CD, which we can eject now. And out it comes. Whoever thought of target disk mode is a godsend. Okay. And of course the where is it? Desktop Mac OS 9. Oh, interesting that would be there. Yeah, it's not mounting the hard drive from the PowerBook, but that's okay. All right, that really doesn't matter. All right, the clock is wrong. Boy, the clock is wrong. Oh, and I know why. I've never seen this, of course. Date and time, there it is. I don't know why every single version, because I think we're just in the wrong time zone. Yeah, we're in the wrong time zone. That'll do. And now we have correct time. Okay. All right. Let's take a look in the applications. And there's not much there, is there? Address book, AppleScript, calculator, chess, the clock, dock extras, Internet Explorer is there. We don't even want to think about firing that up. QuickTime Player. I'm just curious to see what version of QuickTime Player it is. QuickTime 5. Let's see if we can get it a little more exactly. 5.0. That can be updated, I would imagine. Okay. But yeah, there's just not a whole heck of a lot in there, is there? All right. And not much that's going to run because developers were just not writing for this. About this Mac is there, however. PowerPC G4, the 2 gig of memory is all there. And no system profile. Get macOS software, system preferences. I guess there's no system profiler. How about that? Not that it really matters. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to play around with this a little bit more. For the most part, when this operating system came out, it was poorly received because there was a lot of functionality that just plain wasn't there. There were hardly any applications for it. So to get anything like work done, you had to use OS 9 applications. You could run in Classic, as we saw in System Preferences. Okay, in fact, Classic was the first option instead of being down at the bottom. But even that was kind of slow. I will take a look at that on my own time later on. One thing that you could do in this that you couldn't do, users. Being a Unix-based operating system, Mac OS X was the first version of Mac OS that had true multiple user support. Mac OS 9 kind of faked it by allowing you to separate out user data for one person and another. But as far as having the true multiple user, this was the first version. All right, now what's going to come next here, I am going to have to get into an operating system that actually works. I will be cloning this Cheetah installation onto the Puma SSD because the 10.1 disk that I have is an update disk. So we'll have to get this on there. I want to keep this for posterity, if nothing else, just to be able to boot into it and giggle. But then move on to Puma and see what kind of differences we had there. Thanks to Jaguar. Okay. So, you know, I'm going to get myself into either Tiger or Leopard and get about preparing this machine for further adventures. I hope you've enjoyed this look into what it was like to install the very first version of Mac OS X 20 years ago. As always, be good to other people, be good to yourselves, and take very good care.